Welcome to the Spirit of a Badass, where we celebrate stories of courage, hope, and resiliency. I am your host, Alecia Jacobson. Hello, my badasses. Welcome to today's episode. I am super jazzed about it. It's actually going to be a two-part episode. So you will get to hear the first part today, and then next week we will have the second part of this episode. It's actually two different recordings because I got into this conversation with Whitney and I was like, girl, we need to hear more from you. She has that energy. And I'm so excited because since I met with her the first time, there are so many times that what she says in today's episode popped in my head. And I was like, what would Whitney do? You're going to hear about the systems that she has created as she has changed seasons. So going from being pregnant, being an entrepreneur, being in a career, corporate career, and then now having her business at home, and then also being a mother, and how she intentionally sets up her day and her time that the outcome that she desires is what she gets. And she just has some really good strategies. Her brain, let me tell you, she has an amazing brain in the way that she thinks, which is why I'm like, I need to hear more from you. So you are going to hear the first part today, and I'm going to give her a nice introduction here. Today, I welcome Whitney Malish. She is a New Orleans, Louisiana native who graduated from Louisiana State University in Industrial and Systems Engineering and the University of Notre Dame with a master's in engineering, science, and technology entrepreneurship. She made her way to the Midwest after completing her thesis on cycling technologies and accepting a position to further develop this working with a company in Chicago. After marrying her Notre Dame sweetheart, she moved to Madison, Wisconsin, and worked as a digital product manager for Abercrombie & Fitch's website and affiliate platforms for over 3 years. In December 2024, she welcomed her rainbow baby into the world and decided to step away from the hustle of corporate life to stay home with her son and build her business, The Malish Home, where she helps others create beauty at home through elevated interiors, everyday luxuries, and soulful recipes. Welcome, Whitney. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah. All right. So we're just going to jump right in and give us a little backstory around you and kind of everything that you do.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm a yapper, so I'll try not to be long-winded.
That's all right. I'm a yapper too. They all know that, so it's totally fine.
I am from New Orleans, Louisiana, originally born and raised there. A lot of people are like, how the heck did you get to the Midwest? But we'll get there. So I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, from a small town called Madisonville. I was one of the first in my family to go to college. So I went to LSU. I studied industrial systems engineering. And then I made my way to the Midwest when I went to Notre Dame for graduate school, where I got my master's in engineering, technology, entrepreneurship, and engineering. It is a mouthful, their whole program. And then I met my college sweetheart, who's now my husband, John, and he took a job over here. And that's how I ended up in the Midwest. But my background is formally in digital product management. I did that for years and years and years at some companies like SRAM, Trek, Abercrombie & Fitch. My most recent gig was doing affiliate platforms and e-commerce for Abercrombie & Fitch. And on the side, I started my passion project, which is now my full-time business, The Malish Home. And yeah, I recently became a mom this past year to my rainbow baby Mav, who's staring me down while he eats his puffs. So I am doing all the mom stuff as well as running a business right now.
Yeah. And I've been there doing the mom stuff, especially a little one, starting a business, running a business. Truly, how do you make that happen? I know when I messaged you originally, I was like, hey, can I interview you? I'd love to hear your story. You're like, I'm typing this while I hold my 7-month-old. And I'm like, oh, I remember that so vividly.
Yes. I get asked that all the time. I live in Madison, like you, in the area. I'm not from here. I'm from New Orleans. My husband's from Ohio. We have no family here. We moved here right in the peak of the pandemic, and I didn't know a soul, and I'm still meeting people. I met them through social media. So that said, I don't have a village here per se. I don't have family to come rescue me whenever I'm doing stuff with my son. So I wrote on my story the other day because I do free support for my following every Friday. And I wake up at 4 a.m. to knock it out before my son gets up. And I wrote that in my story and they were like, so like no crazy hacks or any of that. No, no crazy hacks. I honestly get up before he does and action the second I wake up. I wish I had some like crazy hack for people. I'm like, because it would be nice if I had a nanny or something like that to say. But when you're starting a business, you have to be a bit scrappy. You can't always afford all of those resources. So it's really just action when the second my eyes wake up. And then just giving myself grace that I am a mom. And like sometimes I am answering you and like DMing people while I'm sitting in a play pit with my son. And I just really look inward and I'm like, okay, what do I need right now? What will make me feel good? Is it being 100% in with my son? Okay, then I'm gonna put the phone away. But it's just kind of that reflection of knowing yourself of like what feels good to get done right now. Because sometimes it is giving your full attention. You know, we wish we could do it for our kids all the time, but I love having my business. It makes me feel good. So like if it's split some days, that's okay too. And then I have an amazing partner. I like posted on my story the other day. Weekends are a circus here because I run a home account. So we're always doing projects. And it was literally my husband building a mudroom. I was filming a fall candle line. And then my son is like screaming at dancing fruits on the TV. Things look beautiful online, but it's a full-blown circus at all times.
Yeah, do you turn the volume? I know there was sometimes when I would make like cooking content and I'm like, okay, I have to turn the volume down on my family and up on something else because
yes.
It's like, oh, it's very loud.
Or like my videos are like, they look like so pretty and peaceful. And I was like, if I literally unmute this, you're just going to hear my son like screaming at the top of his lungs in the background.
Yeah. So, okay. So you get up at 4 a.m. Were you always a morning person?
Yes. I think that was something that was just kind of ingrained in me, like growing up. So I put myself through school, undergrad and graduate school. Even high school, I knew I wanted to go to college and I did like the half days that they allowed for in Louisiana where I started like saving early. So I've been someone that's always just juggled a lot of things. So just to like fast forward, go back to college, but I would get up at 4 a.m. and teach like spin classes at 5 a.m. I'd wake up, do that all before my classes. So I've just always been someone that I'm like, okay, what can I knock out early in the morning? And that could be work or self-care. I just need to like hit the ground running. Mm-hmm. So I've kind of adapted that into motherhood as well as like, how can I take care of myself? And sometimes that looks like, self-care or getting ahead of my business right when I wake up while the baby's still down. So I can give him attention when he wakes up.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is something innately in you. Okay. That's fantastic. And I think that's something that I talk about with the women that I work with is kind of when you're trying to go against the grain of who you are at your core. And you're not saying, okay, I'm going to work at night or I'm going to do this or I'm
not a night worker. I said that to my husband. He was like, well, you run your business now. You could really work anytime you want. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not a night person. I've never been. I'm in bed he goes down at 7. I'm down at 8. I go really, and then I like to wake up. Sometimes I'm even up as early as 3 a.m. because when the ideas come, they come. And I just know that about myself, but I need to go to bed at 8, on the dot.
Yeah. I think that's really important, kind of going with the natural rhythm of who you are and then finding ways that you can kind of amplify that, which is exactly what you've done. Mm-hmm. So how did you start your business? What was the transition like from working in kind of the more corporate? You hear this, like women are in the corporate world and then they like, what was that like for you?
Yeah. So I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. So like when I grew up in Louisiana, I always had side hustles. Like I remember my earliest like entrepreneurship thing was I made like hair ties and bows. When I worked at a dance boutique, I would ask if I could sell that there. I also like helped build websites for like mom and pop shops. I was always like a really techie kid. And then when I got to college, I was doing like resume services. And then I kept building websites. And then I was teaching spin classes on the side. I did not want to take out any debt for college. So I was that person. And then when I went to Notre Dame, it was a program focused on technology entrepreneurship. So they were nurturing people that were more entrepreneurial. And when I did that program, I got to create a stationary bike design that was a little bit different than what was in the market. And my first corporate job, they took that technology. So they hired me as like an entrepreneur, where I got to go do market research, observe problems out in the industry, and then pitch new product lines, which is what really product management is. So I've always been very entrepreneurial. So when I was working in corporate, I still had like that entrepreneurial spirit going on in the background of what other ventures could I be doing? Because I just like juggling a lot. So all that said, the reason I started the Malish home was I realized with my corporate job, I was just like kind of tired of going in on everyone else's ideas, or like they'd be like, hey, Whitney, I want you to go do market research on this and all of that. And I was like, okay, I want to do something that's just a creative outlet for me, because being a woman in STEM, you're surrounded by a lot of men. And I was like, I just needed a little bit of an outlet. So my husband and I was like, hey, I moved to Wisconsin for you and for your job, and I would love for us to build a house. Like it's just something I've always wanted to do. I know I'm bouncing all over the place, but I grew up in foster care. So the idea of having like a beautiful home was always something I like really wanted. So I was just always bouncing around different houses, and I just always dreamed of that. And I was like, I want to build a house. And I started documenting it through another account I have where I just share life with like a good girlfriend of mine called Whitney Malish. And there was just so much interest. And when I was sharing like how I was designing and all of that, because my background is engineering, I know how to mock up all this stuff. So I was sharing all of that, and there was just such a big interest in it. And I looked at my husband, I was like, I don't know, maybe I should just like make an account for this, like offer services. Then I had a miscarriage with our first pregnancy. And my husband just really he was like, I think this is a good outlet for you. I think it's a good outlet for you to just, have something that you can like turn to and be creative with. And I just kind of let it be that for me. Like I did some shadow work and all of that of like, what do I need right now? And I just need a place where I could like play. And that's pretty much how the Malish home came about. It was just me being creative. And then in that, I shared a lot of like my journey of motherhood, home, all of that. And it's just really blossomed into a beautiful community where I get to help people with their home, but they also come to me about their kids and all of that. And I love that.
Okay. I just want to really
that's a lot.
Well, I think I'm going to pause for a second because my brain is like, I have like fireworks that happen when I start thinking, and I'm like, which one am I going to attach to? You went for it. There was not a plan. You even said like almost like a playful attitude towards it. It wasn't like I have to do this. It wasn't anything with intensity at all, which it sounds like you have that ability to also like,
yes.
It feels like you have that intensity in you, but this seemed very almost soft, as in this is for me. And you then created something out of that. So you kept this account going, and you also mentioned community. So tell me about this community and kind of what it's like.
Yeah. So the account that I initially started posting on was this like kind of like motherhood-ish account that I made with my girlfriend called Whit and Cal. So from there, we had like a really strong community. It's a lot smaller of account. I'm talking like probably like 1,000 women. And most of them are in the Madison area, or they're people that have just followed me from my Louisiana days, Chicago days, all of that. And then when I started the Malish home, I just like kind of treated it like a scrapbook of stuff that I loved, but I really niched down in home. So I treated it like that. And then from that, I felt like I attracted a lot of women that were just like, oh, like I want to romanticize being at home. Like I want to enjoy the everyday at home. So that's why it kind of branched from just like making your house beautiful, but also creating systems that elevate your everyday life. Like you deserve to have a beautiful home to like live in and enjoy. So it kind of went from just like, here's some interiors, but also here are some systems to make your life beautiful. Oh, here's like a date night at home that you can enjoy, or here's how to enjoy your slow morning. And I think because home is already so intimate, people felt comfortable messaging me about things going on in their lives, because I mean, I'm literally showcasing my life at home to people. And I opened up about my miscarriage and stuff. So I think because of my vulnerability and the intimacy of the topic being home, I was able to really connect with my audience in that way. And I will say, not that Malish Home is like huge by any means, because I've dealt with like a lot bigger accounts when I worked at Abercrombie, but it grew to up, I want to say like 11,000 in the first year, which has been really nice. And I will say, like, I love that I know the people that are following me. Like when they message me, I answer. I don't use AI for anything or any of that. That community aspect has always been really important to me because they're opening up about their homes too.
Yeah. You said, well, one, I would like to have you give us some examples of the systems, but you also said like romanticize your home. Like, what is that in your home? But then what about the people that you've helped? Like, what does that actually look like? So I am not inclined in any way whatsoever. Like, it's just sort of like chaos in my house. So what does that look like in your home and in the people that you serve's home?
Yeah. So, like, people that are coming to my account, I will share beautiful interiors, but I also am very upfront about the systems in order to have beautiful interiors. Because I think you see these homes and you're like, where's all their stuff? Like, where's all their stuff? And I'm like, oh, well, this is like actually how I organize like my child's bottles. So, like, you see a beautiful pantry, but this is how I organize his bottles so that it's like tucked away and I don't have the mental load of like, where's all this stuff go? So like I give them a peek behind the curtain of this is a beautiful interior, but like this is how I upkeep it so that it keeps looking like that. As for romanticizing the everyday, I've started dipping my toe into showing like more day in the life so that people can see how I'm juggling real life on top of everything. And that means waking up and showing them how I make my coffee, how I'm going for a walk, like kind of that like soft living, but also showing, yes, I'm working and yes, my child is screaming next to me. Mm-hmm. So I like to think it's a bit more approachable than just the pretty stuff you see online because it's the peek behind the camera of, yes, this is pretty, but also real life is happening next to me. So like you get it where you can.
Yeah. Tell me more about the systems. I'm big on systems, but mine are usually more like health related, habit related, things like that. So tell me how you take systems in your home. Like, what does that look like? And how you said like kind of like upkeep and how you make it continue.
So I have baskets literally for everything. So I'm gonna get like really tactical right now.
Yeah, please.
I have baskets for everything. So like if I get up in the morning, my husband, he wakes up before I do typically. And before, I know that sounds crazy because you're like 4 a.m. But yeah, he's that 3:45 a.m. person. But I typically work from bed, let's say at like 4 a.m. Like I'm not the person that like get up right away. Like I open my phone, I schedule my post, all of that. I'm like knocking out work. So I'm doing that. He'll typically bring me a bottle because my son's also an early riser like us. Love that.
Shocking.
Love that for me. Yeah. So he'll put the bottle next to me and my son will get up. He'll typically bring the baby to me while I'm still like doing some work. I'll feed all of that. And then there's a burp cloth. And then typically he spits up on his clothes. I'm giving this scenario so you can get an idea of the real life that's happening. When I decide to get out of bed, I have 2 playstations for my son, one upstairs, one downstairs, because I don't want to move everything every single time. I put my son on his play thing, and then I grab the bottle, the burp cloth, his onesie that he threw up on, and I have a basket for that. I already like put that out as I know that I'm going to get back to that. Then I go take care of myself. I come out, I pick up that basket, and I'm like, okay, now I'm taking care of my house. Like I took care of did work, took care of myself while my son was playing, picked up the basket. And now I'm like, okay, my laundry's right here. I do the laundry right away. I go downstairs and I'm putting his bottle. And that's what I mean by like having like my basket that is allowing me to keep my house tidy, but it's like ingrained in my flow of what I'm doing in the morning. So that's just one little system. The second system that I talk to moms a lot about was when I found I was pregnant with my son, I invested in professional pantry organization services. I was that person that was like, there is no way like that is worth the money. It is so expensive. It is not worth it. It's worth every single penny as a mom. Like I love walking into my pantry and everything is organized. And that means even my son's bottles, because when I have a place to put his stuff and not just see it all the time, it just feels like just way more peaceful. So like, that's the second system I recommend. I just introduced a PlayStation and I put that on my account the other day. Like, hey, this is actually a really cute PlayStation and how I put it together. And I've had so many moms being like, oh my God, thank you. Because now I know I can have like a pretty play area that's safe for my kids.
Tell me what this is, because my kids are older now and you said PlayStation and I go to like the Xbox type thing.
Oh.
So tell me, when you say PlayStation, what does that mean exactly?
Yeah, sorry, like a play yard, like a baby
Oh.
gate system. Because I will work. I'm a working mom. So I need to know he's safe while I'm working. And so I got a baby play yard, but all the ones I saw were really ugly. So I think that's what I mean by like elevating the everyday. Like, what is something that's like an eyesore, typically not that fun, and how can we elevate it a little bit more? So if you're looking at the play yards, they're all like that, like mesh, like not good, like not cute. Where I'm that person that I will research finding the cute one. So it's not an eyesore, but you still have to live. Your kid still needs a safe place to play. So like I created that. I got a cute basket. He's playing next to me. He's safe. I can tuck him in, gate him in while I'm working or like running around the first floor. And I don't have to worry about him breaking free. Granted, I know it's going to look different when he starts becoming a bit more mobile, but then we'll introduce a new system for that.
Yeah.
But right now, this is what works for this phase.
Okay. So where do these baskets live?
Yeah, the baskets. So I have a stair basket where when he has a blowout downstairs, I always put his because I'm not going upstairs right away. That's like what kind of wasting time as like a mom that's like working is like going upstairs every single moment I need something. And my kid's 24 pounds and he's 8 months. So it's a lot. I have a basket where I put his clothes where he has blowouts downstairs or like mail that needs to go upstairs. I have it there so like I don't have to see all the clutter around the house, but it's like tucked. I have a basket for that. The other basket for his play stuff, it's in his play area. And then the basket for the items that I talked about earlier in the morning, it lives in my room, like on my console table. So like when people are always like, what do I do with all this stuff when I have a kid? I'm like, literally just buy baskets and designate purposes to them and it will make you feel a lot better.
Were you like this before? Because I work with so many women, like we do systems, like this is what we do, but I know that they struggle to make it a habit. It's how can I do this? But they're all about how do I save time? Like when you're talking about not wanting to go up the stairs, 100%. It's like, yes. How can I conserve to maximize my efforts in whatever it is that I'm wanting to be maximizing in?
Yes, I will say I've always been this way. I mean, my background's industrial engineering. And if you're not familiar with industrial engineering, at its core, it's looking at time studies, how to be as efficient as possible, which is why a lot of it's like industrial and systems engineering, because you're looking at how to make everything like as efficient as possible. So yeah, I will say at my core, I've always been this way because I'm like, oh, I'm not going to go do that. I'm like, put it down where it's supposed to go right now. It's in your hand, put it down. Do not go set it somewhere. You're wasting energy. So like, unless you're going upstairs, that's why I put it in the basket. But yeah, I will say at my core, I've always been this way. Okay. But as a mom, I've had to get more creative because typically I would say I would have just gone upstairs, it's not that big of a deal. But when you have littles, you can't really turn your back as much, especially like 8 months. So I've had to get more creative at what system works for me in this season.
Season. I like that too, because it doesn't have to be a lot of times people fall back on what this worked then. And I am always like, well, that is a different life. You are not the same person. Like you of a mom of a 7-month-old is not going to be you in a year from now when you've got a toddler tearing around.
No. And I tell my husband, 4 a.m., I'm not trying to like preach toxic behavior. I don't like working. I wouldn't, my perfect day wouldn't be working at 4 a.m. Let me say that. It would be waking up and working out at 4 a.m., putting myself first. But I know that I have a little who likes to grab, and I get frustrated whenever I'm trying to type on a computer and he's grabbing my hands and and I don't want him just seeing me on a computer all the time. He can see me work out. He can see me working on myself. I want him to see those things, but I really don't want him just like me on a computer or me on a phone all the time. So in this season, it serves me better to get up at 4 a.m. and knock out computer work even though it's not ideal. And then let my son see me going on long walks. Let my son see me taking care of my body. I rather him, and I know he's 8 months now, so it's not like that deep, Whitney, but like, I rather him see those things right now than me always on my phone, like, so yeah, I for the moms listening to this, I don't want the message to be get up at 4 a.m. and start cranking out work. That's not what I mean. It's just reevaluating. This is important to you. Where does it make sense to fit it in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a former 4 a.m. person. And when I had my gym, I would work. Like, I think I had one client at 3:30 once. And I was like, because it was like, okay, my kids are sleeping. And I tried to kind of figure out when it would work. Now I'm like, I'm not getting up early for anything. Like, I did it for 20 years. Yep, I'm not doing it anymore. Different life now. But it was like, this is what I need to do for now. And then it didn't, like, it wouldn't work for it. I will choose not to have it work for me today. But I think, like you said, you are a natural morning person, and that is how it works for you. And looking at, someone else's life, where does it naturally fit in? And also, I think what you said, one, the season is really important, but also, what do you want to show out? And I think, is it inappropriate for me to ask how old you are?
Oh, no, not at all. I'm 30.
30. Okay. I think when I was probably, because I am 44. So when I was back in, it was like the hustle culture of like, just grind and grind and grind. And that is one regret that I have, is that
I do too.
Yes. I just was focused on proving and grinding. And then I kind of look back and it's like, shoot, I didn't have to do that. So really it's hitting home what you're saying. Sorry, I'm going to actually cry.
Oh no, I love that, because I completely resonate with that. Like, I look back on my college days, and if anyone's listening to this went to college with me, I was that hustler. And when I tell my story, people are like, "Oh, that's so inspiring." I'm like, I love that you find that inspiring, but like, I wish I lived more. Like, so like, that's why I'm saying, like, what makes sense for this season? Because I look back, I'm like, I didn't go out in college. I didn't have a normal college experience. Like, that's not normal. So like, you need to figure out to your core what makes sense for you in this season, that feels good for you.
Yeah, like true. Like, one of the things oh my gosh, now I'm all red.
I love it.
One of the things, it's a full moon right now, so I'm a crier anyway. But I didn't kind of realize, I never stopped to think about that. It was like, what's coming in from the outside, and this is just what you do, what you have to do, and you do it with such intensity. And, if I could, like, I think of my kids, because I did go to work so early, but then I missed parts. I was thinking, well, I have to do this so that years later we can be better off for it. And I missed some key parts. And so now it's like, okay, how do I want to show up? Kind of reevaluating, because I didn't have kind of what you have, is I'm going to do this work now so I can, I'd rather have him see me work out. And that's just such a gift that you are giving him. And again, a season, like, things change in the season, but it's such a gift. And I'm so happy the way it is changing for women, this sort of the leaving of the hustle culture. And we don't, like, my husband, we had some stuff with our neighbors, and I like sprung into action and did all these things. And he's like, called me Superwoman. And I waited, but when we got home, I was like, do not call me that. I do not want to be like, that is not a role that I want to play anymore.
Oh my gosh. Everything you're saying hits so home for me, because I loved my job at Abercrombie. And when I decided to leave, I left because my nanny quit on me literally a week before I was supposed to go back to work. I had every intention on going back to work, but I had no one to help me. And I loved my job. And I told my husband, I was like, okay, if I have the nanny, I'll be home with him, but I'll be working. And my job is very demanding. And I'm still going to grow Malish home, because I knew I always wanted Malish home. And I remember going back and forth with my husband on that. And then when the nanny quit, I took it as a sign from the universe that I was like, I prayed about it. And I was like, I'm going to stay home. And I told my husband, I was like, because I have a choice. Like, and I think it's beautiful that we live in a time where women, you have the choice. Like, I didn't have to burn myself out. What was I proving to keep climbing the corporate ladder when I knew in my bones it wasn't for me? And I was like, I think it's beautiful that my child gets to witness his mom create something for our family. But also, I told my husband the other thing that was really important to me was I had a C-section. Postpartum was really hard on me. And growing up in the conditions that I didn't really have parents. So like going into motherhood was tough. And I told him, I was like, I want to be intentional about what I work hard on so I can focus on taking care of myself and taking care of him, because I didn't have that growing up. And that's really important to me because I was so tired of the hustle. And when I say hustle, it doesn't mean don't work hard. It's just being intentional about what you work hard on, because it should feel good at the end of the day. Like you should be like, wow, that was good. Not, I'm just trying to prove it to someone. So I love that you said that, because like I've kind of second guessed myself, but it's nice when I hear women that, you know, can reflect back and say,
100%. Yeah, 100%. Like it gives me so much. That's why when I was like, can I ask how old you are? I ask in a.
Oh yeah, go ahead, please.
Because I think kind of like I've been able to see, you know, because I work with a lot with nutrition and things like that. And I'm able to see how the people, you know, 10, 15 years older than me, that just the toxic crap that I was told, but we are not now passing it on. So it's just just like heartwarming. And it makes me really happy for your, like the lives that the like 30 somethings are creating and the families, because there is such a different dynamic, and it's not so like, it's like almost like freedom of just like you said, that you can choose. So tell us, what is the Malish home and what is it that you do? You're a mom, but what is the Malish home?
Yeah, the Malish home. So I offer virtual interior styling services. I just think during the season, it's what makes the most sense for me. And I know I thrive working remotely since all my jobs have always been remote. So I know that about myself. I know I'm disciplined enough to do virtual, but I also love helping other people with their existing homes. Or I do new builds, but a lot of people get confused about interior styling versus interior design. The reason I say interior styling is I don't have a formal education in interior design. And I've talked to a few of my interior designer friends, and they're like, no, Whitney, your background's engineering. You can say you're an interior designer. But that said, I don't do anything structural. So if you're looking to renovate your home, I don't want to be that person that knows all the building codes or any of that. I like working with people that, let's say, you're not really happy with your living room and your budget isn't, a large renovation is not in the budget. Great. Give me your existing plans. Give me your inspiration, and I'll go to town helping you refresh that space. And I like to ask questions like, how many kids do you have? How many dogs, cats? So I can make sure, like, performance fabric. I'm not going to have a lot of tchotchkes on your coffee table if you have a 2-year-old, you know? So I offer virtual interior styling services. The other half of the Malish home is content creation. So when I worked at Abercrombie, I was a digital product strategist for product manager, which the strategy for affiliate platforms. So I learned a lot about like the affiliate space and people that are content creators, influencers, all of that. And I was like, wait, I can do this. Like, I actually really love creating content, like beautiful videos and photos and all of that. So the other half is creating content for lifestyle and home brands specifically. We're starting to dabble a little bit more into motherhood. I think that's just natural with the season I'm in. People are more curious about like how I'm living at home when I have an 8-month-old. So we're starting to dabble more into motherhood, but I'm creating content for brands, and then people like you, when they're coming to my page of, this is what I'm doing in my day-to-day. This is how I'm decorating for fall. These are some recipes we're trying, all of that. So it's a little bit of a twofold right now.
Yeah. How does that second part look? The kind of content creation, like what does it look like when you work with somebody for that?
Yeah, I love that part. I will say brand work I've been surprised how much I've really liked brand work. And I think it's because it's tapping into my background in corporate a bit more. So it feels a bit more comfortable. I'm trying to think of like a recent one that I just did. LAFCO, funny enough, is one of my favorite candle brands like my whole life. I've always loved them. And what I do is I'll just pitch to businesses being like, hey, I truly love your product. Can we partner on me making a video showing your products or sharing your products with my audience? And, you know, I will say some content creators, they'll go out to any brand. I'm very selective about the brands that I work with because I I would feel slimy just like promoting anything I haven't tried. Like I'm like, before we got on this call, I was going through my inbox. They're like, will you promote our baby sleep sacks and bottles? I'm like, no, because I know what my favorite sleep sack is. I know what my favorite bottles are. And I'm not willing to break that trust when I've already shared that with my audience for a check. Like I know what my favorites are. So when I'm working with a brand, it's brands I truly like, or if I haven't tried them, I ask them to send me their products. And if I like it, then we can talk about like a collaboration of me promoting it further.
Okay. That sounds like something, I mean, that probably works really well with your mom life too, because that is something like you can do that essentially on your own time and probably kind of melts with your life.
Yes, absolutely. And it's really fun to do. Like last week we did like some recipe videos, and I'm like, my son's trying different foods right now being at 8 months. And I was like, okay, this is great. Cause I'm just going to like separate all these ingredients and feed him while I'm filming myself. Yeah. And it's just, it molds well because there's also like the timelines are also pretty fluid and stuff like that. So I just need that flexibility in this season. So that's what I mean by like, if you're a business owner listening to this and you're a mom, maybe take a look at your business model and see if it's working for you or against you in the season that you're in, if you're trying to like balance both.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you keep talking about the seasons because there's so much rigidity. People like get stuck in something and then feel like, oh, I'm doing this. I can't shift. I can't change. And I think, I don't know, there's like a level of permission that you're giving people. And then also, I mean, on your page, you're showing them, this is how I do it. And this is how you can do it also.
Yes. And I always say things at a high level too. Like I joke with my husband. He's like, well, you have your routine. He's the most disciplined person I've ever met in my life. 3:45 a.m. He has a split. He does the same thing I'm more of a high level person where I'm like, okay, I know today I want to work out at some point. I know I want to eat a good meal. I know I want to do this at a high level at my business. The exact times it happens, you got to be flexible as a mom. So like, or if my workout isn't bar class today, I just want to move my body. So it's going to be a walk, which today it will just be a walk. But my point is like at a high level, what are those things you need to do that make you feel good? You can look at it for your business or for yourself, and don't constrain yourself so much unless you really need to for this season. But like for me, I can't do that right now.
Yeah. And I think even when people are constraining for a season, it's not an all of life. It's like, okay, for that, like you said, be very intentional. And maybe this one part is like 100 miles an hour, very intentional. Like I have a outcome that I'm needing to get to. But when that's applied, which is kind of what I was talking about, to the totality of your life, you got a bunch of people my age that are just burnt out and tired. And I hope there's so much hope that I have talking to people who are in, just right after me, because I really don't think that you are going to be 45. And I mean, there's still some tired that comes with it because you got like perimenopause and all the hormones and everything. But I really feel like you guys are setting yourselves up for just such a beautiful life. And I feel like things shifted, and I'm so thankful. And it's really refreshing to hear the way that you do it and kind of how you got there. And then that you're out there sharing it, because the message you have is, I mean, this is huge. So I really hope, well, one, how can people go find you?
Yeah, so I am at the Malish Home on Instagram. If you like more polished, pretty content, that's probably in my feed at the Malish Home, but my stories is more real life. And if you want even more, I'm a yapper and I'm a bit unhinged at times. That's my TikTok for the Malish Home. So you can really find the, on TikTok, I'm a bit more unpolished, but that's just because we don't have to get into digital strategy, but there's like a younger demographic there and they resonate with that a bit more. So if you like pretty, polished content, probably more Instagram. If you like pretty, but also a little bit unhinged, probably TikTok.
I feel like anybody listening here is like unhinged. Yes.
Yeah.
I attract the unhinged.
Yes. It's literally like the circus of my life. I'm like, oh, my kid's screaming right now while I'm trying to film this.
Yeah. Oh, Whitney, I'm so thankful for you. I'm so thankful for the work that you're doing. And I hope everybody goes and gives you a follow. Now, are you still doing, and we'll link everything in the show notes. You mentioned another account also.
Oh yeah. Whit and Kels. That's just my smaller account with a girlfriend of mine. And we talk more about motherhood in general. Like I would say Malish home is more like home is the focus. And then naturally my personality comes into it because it's my home. But I would say for Whit and Kels, motherhood is primarily the focus. So if you're looking for just motherhood all over the board, Whit and Kels is really great for that. And it's literally just Whit and Kels on Instagram.
Thank you so much, Whitney. I really appreciate this.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Great to hear your story. And I would love to probably talk with you further about your story.
Yeah, let's do this again. It was so fun.
Yes, there's so much depth to you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Whitney.
I hope you have a great one.
You too. Spirit of a Badass is a Lit Path Studios podcast and is produced by Jamie Gale and Alecia Jacobson. Music by Shane Ivers. We'll be back with another inspiring interview. Until then, keep your spirits high and your energy badass.